Good afternoon and welcome to the 24th Annual Student and Community Participation Veterans Day program here in Hillsboro at the Hillsboro Event Center this Friday, November 8th. I'm James Martins. We'll be going through some great speakers and some other elements of the program here. Give you a little preview. You see the American flag there on the table here at the HEC. We'll have start things off with the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance. National anthem led by the high school choir. We'll see if we can pick up some of that audio from our floor mic right in front of the podium, which is where Rich Gerke, the organizer of this day, of this event, will give his remarks. We'll highlight some honored guests and give some special recognition. High school choir will once again sing a song for the unsung hero. Then we'll have a presentation of the origins of Veterans Day by Elisa Jenin. We'll hear from some classic Marine hymns through the flag folding ceremony there where you see right now at the table. And our featured speaker this afternoon is Christy Sumner, U.S. Air Force veteran and 1988 Hillsboro graduate. A little bit later on, Braden Chenault will play taps. And Rich will give his closing remarks. So that's what we have for you. As far as the program is concerned, again, we'll have a mic on the floor to pick up all the speakers. Might not get to as much of the audio and the audience participation in the choir, but we'll do our best to get some audio from them. So as we await here the start by the choir, let's take a gander here at those gathered today. Again, Veterans Day on Monday, so program is today. Of course, all the students from Hillsboro Elementary and Middle and High School are gathered here inside the HEC. We'll have a video presentation over there on the right-hand side of your screen a little bit later on today. And then below us, we've got community members as well. So again, we'll go to the high school choir first. We're going to be performing the national anthem on this Veterans Day program 2024. A reminder that we have the Milner program going on right now as well. If you have family down in the Milner area, veterans down there that want to take a watch, they can watch that. And we'll have Ada's program on Monday morning as well. So that's what we have going on here today. Again, the 24th Annual Community and Student Participation Veterans Day program here on YourLiveEvent.com. Happy almost Veterans Day to all of our veterans out there who have served this country so bravely. And, of course, this is part of why we honor them with these programs. And so, again, we're waiting for the choir to get started here under the direction of Mrs. Smallbeck. We'll sing the national anthem, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance for you as well. Part of a eclectic day of programming here on Your Live Event, as, again, we have the Veterans Day programs, and we also have a one-act play broadcast later on. Let's go down to Rich Gerke, who has invited everyone to stand.
Place your hand over your heart and join in singing our national anthem, which will be led by the high school choir.
Through the
Please remain standing, and again, place your hand over your heart and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you. You may now be seated. Good afternoon to all students, teachers, administrators, support staff, veterans, community members, any guests, any family, any friends, and of course, I need to do a special welcome to my granddaughter, Chloe. Hey, Chloe, how are you? Good to see you here. Good to see all of you here this afternoon. On behalf of the Hillsboro Veterans of Foreign Wars, Osmond Lane Post number 4172 and their auxiliary, and the Hillsboro American Legion Post, Lynn Spearing Post number 4 and their auxiliary, and the Hillsboro Sons of the American Legion, I would like to welcome all of you to our 24th annual Student Veterans Day program and our second joint program where we hold it together, the students and the community. Last year was the first time that we tried the joint program, and we had a lot of positive comments about that, so we may continue to do it this way as we go forward. Most of you students were not even born when we had our first Student Veterans Day program in 2001. Some of you adults will remember what had happened in our country, and as why we at that time decided that we gotta do a program, we got to get the students involved and we got to get the adults involved, and we just need to energize or re-energize our faith and our loyalty and our patriotism to our great country. And I'm happy to say that 24 years later we're still doing it. We've had a couple of missteps where that nasty COVID came into play and took us out of it 2 times, and then the snowstorm took us out of it the 3rd time. So there were 3 years in a row that we didn't have the program. And I'm certainly happy that last year we got it started again, and of course now this year. The intent, as I had mentioned, was to re-energize all of us. Hopefully we have accomplished that. Unfortunately, terrorist attacks still continue, so that the need to remain faithful and loyal to our country is just as important today as it was in 2001. Please don't treat this as a one-day thing. It should be 365 days a year that we practice and show our loyalty and our faith and patriotism to our great country. I would suspect that most of you have a family member or friends that have served in the military. Hopefully you've had a chance to speak with them about their service. If you haven't, I would suggest that you take some time someday to do that. As we all know, time goes fast. Today we have some special guests that I would like to introduce that are going to be part of the program. First of all, we have Elisa Jenin. She's got a reading that she's going to do later on in the program. We've got Braden Chenault, who's going to play taps for us. Braden, where are you? Got the high school choir, my understanding is junior high choir. And of course we have, we're gonna have our flag folding demonstration again, and Bob Ebo. Bob is the American Legion member, and he's also the commander of our local Legion post. And Herman De Leon is a member of our VFW post, and they're gonna do the flag folding here in just a little bit. And of course, our speaker for today, Christy Sumner. I know she's really happy that she's here. I certainly am happy that she's here. My name is Rich Gerke, and I'm the commander of our local VFW post here in Hillsboro. This time I would like to recognize the veterans that are here today. Do we by chance happen to have a World War II veteran here? We have one World War II veteran still alive in our VFW post here in Hillsboro. This individual is from Minnesota, and he is 100 years old and still alive and well. Most of the World War II vets would have to be really close to 100, and we have called them for many times the greatest generation with the World War II veterans. We've heard stories about the World War II veterans lying about their age so they could get into a conflict or war so that they could serve our country and protect our country's freedom. A lot of them were 17 when they went in, lied about it. Any of you guys here that are 17, raise your hand. Don't be bashful. Imagine you going to your parents tonight when you get home and tell them, I decided I'm going to go into the military. Will you sign for me so I can go? And that, with World War II, that happened many, many times. Do we have any Korean War veterans here today? Again, these guys would have to be right around 90 or older. And again, we still have some in our post here in Hillsboro. How about any Vietnam veterans here today? If so, would you please stand? Thank you, guys. You probably remember when we were the young guys. Now we're no longer the young guys. Most of your Vietnam veterans would have to be right around 70 and maybe a little older than that as well. Any veterans here that served in Panama? How about the Persian Gulf? And any veterans that served in Iraq and or Afghanistan? Next, we'd like to recognize the services. Would all Army veterans please stand? Any Navy veterans, please stand. Air Force veterans. Coast Guard veterans. Marine Corps veterans. Those of us that have a special allegiance to the Corps will be celebrating our 249th birthday on Sunday, November 10th. There you go. I did get my card in the mail from the Commandant and acknowledging that we were going to be celebrating our birthday and that they were wishing us well. And keep in mind of what the Corps has done over the last 249 years. Okay, next on the program, we've got a song by the high school choir, song for the unsung hero. I guess I gotta remember to kiss the mic, right? Can everybody hear me in the back? Pretty good? Mr. Driver, can you hear me? Okay. Thank you to the Hillsboro High School choir, under the direction of Mrs. Smallback. I don't know if you're all aware of this or not, but Mandy is also a veteran. Put in quite a few years, is my understanding. So let's give her a hand. Thank you for your service. Next on the program, we've got the reading, Origin of Veterans Day, and Elisa Jenin will do that reading.
Veterans Day takes place on the 11th of November every year. Veterans Day is celebrated all over the country with parades and celebrations. One big national celebration takes place at Arlington National Cemetery. During this celebration, the President of the United States places a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns. After this, a bugler sounds taps, which is followed by a parade that includes many veterans groups. Veterans Day takes place on the 11th because in 1918, at 11 a.m., World War I ended. That was the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. That day became known as Armistice Day, but the peace did not last and a Second World War broke out. The first Veterans Day parade was held in 1947. A man named Raymond Weeks helped to organize it in Birmingham, Alabama, in order to honor all of America's veterans for their loyal service. Then, in 1954, President Eisenhower made Veterans Day a national celebration, and so now, every year on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the President places a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns at Arlington National Cemetery, where he honors all Americans who have fought and died to serve our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Next on the program, we're going to start hearing some of the service songs. And I would ask that when you hear your service song, if you would please stand. If you have a program, the words are on the back of that program. So feel free to join in singing these service songs. I'm not quite sure why Julie usually puts the Marine Corps song first. I have no influence when the program gets prepared, so that's the way it is. Next, we're going to do a flag folding ceremony. Again, Bob Hebel and Herman De Leon will help us with that. And I have a reading that I'll do along with that because The flag folding ceremony represents the same religious principles in which our country was originally founded. The flag, the portion of the flag denoting honor, is the canton of blue containing the stars representing states our veterans served in uniform. The canton field of blue dresses from left to right and only is inverted when draped as a pall on a casket of a veteran who has served our country honorably in uniform. In the evening, in the armed forces of the United States, at the ceremony of retreat after taps have been sounded, the flag is lowered and folded in a triangle fold and kept under watch throughout the night as a tribute to our nation's honored dead. The next morning it is brought out at the ceremony of reveille and run up aloft as a symbol of our belief in the resurrection of the body. The first fold of our flag is a symbol of life. The second fold is a symbol of our belief in the eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the veterans departing our ranks who gave of a portion of life for the defense of our country to attain peace throughout the world, not to have been in vain and shall never be forgotten. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature, for as American citizens trusting in God, for it is Him we turn to in times of peace as well as in times of war for His divine guidance. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country, for in the words of the immortal Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold, for this is where our hearts lie, and it is with our hearts that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is a tribute to our armed forces, for it is through these same armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all her enemies, whether they be found within or without the boundaries of our republic. The eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we might see the light of day. And this fold is made to honor Mother, for whom it flies on Mother's Day. The ninth fold is a tribute to our womanhood, for it has been through their faith, love, loyalty, and devotion that the characters of the men that have made this country great have been molded. The 10th fold is a tribute to Father, for he too has given of his sons and daughters for the defense of our country since she was first born. We fold the stripes towards the stars, for whereas the stripes represent the 13 original colonies that founded our republic, and they are now embodied in the 50 sovereign states represented by the stars, so that the stars cover the stripes. The 11th fold, for in the eyes of the Hebrew citizens, this represents the lower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon, and glorifies in their eyes the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. The 12th fold, for in the eyes of a Christian citizen, this represents an emblem of eternity and glorifies in their eyes God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. When the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, which reminds us of our national motto, "In God We Trust." After the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it takes on the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the sailors and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones. and they, followed by their comrades and shipmates in the armed forces of the United States, have preserved for us the rights, privileges, and freedom which we are enjoying today. Thank you, Bob and Herman, for doing that, and let's give them a nice round of applause. Thank you. Again, on the program now, we're going to hear some more service songs. Again, feel free to sing along with me. Most of the time that you see a flag being folded this way, it is at the funeral of a veteran. After the flag is completely folded, it is usually given to a member of the deceased veteran's family. We could put on a whole program regarding flag etiquette. We're not going to be doing that here today. I will say though, always honor and respect your country's flag. Don't drag it on the ground, don't burn it, don't throw things at it, and don't try to deface it in any shape or form. And when it gets old and worn out, make sure that it gets disposed of properly. Your best way to do that here in Hillsboro would drop it off at our local Vets Club. And we have a special ceremony that we perform each fall. I do want to commend most of you for showing your respect to the flag of our country. Whether you're watching a parade or athletic contest and many other events, it certainly appears that most of you know the appropriate things to do is to stand, if you are able, and place your hand over your heart. Kneeling is certainly not acceptable. You people here are doing a great job. Whenever we're marching in a parade and it's in Hillsboro and we see students, they're really, really good about standing and putting their hand over their heart and recognizing A lot of credit, I'm sure, has to go to the teachers. I would guess they probably emphasize that, but it really looks good, let me tell you. Next on our program, we have our featured speaker. With us today, we have Christy Sumner. Christy is a United States Air Force veteran, and she's also a 1988 Hillsboro graduate. So let's give Christy a nice warm welcome.
Good afternoon. I'd like to start off by thanking all veterans and active duty military. It is an honor to be here today. It is also an honor to be able to call myself a veteran. It is one of the things in my life I am most proud of. What I'm going to talk about today is why I joined the military, some important lessons I learned while I was in the military, what it was like for me as a woman in the military, how growing up here in the Hillsboro-Blanchard area helped me in the military, and how the military affected my entire life. First, why I joined the military. I joined for a few reasons. It began with an intense pull, if you will, that started between my junior and senior year. It was a pull toward the military, specifically the Air Force, that just would not go away. But that was not the only reason. I also had a desire to travel, to have an adventure, to have a different kind of life than the kind we had around here, and a future that entailed not starting off my life in debt. Because of all this, I went ahead and took the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Test, or ASVAB for short, while in high school, so they could determine my strengths for potential military occupation. Until later, my senior year, I still didn't know what I was going to do, so I applied to colleges and kept thinking about it. But that pull to join the Air Force continued, so I prayed for a sign. I just needed one sign. Then it came. An Air Force brochure came in the mail. At that time, I didn't think that same brochure probably went to everyone in my class, or every senior high school student in the state for that matter. It was my sign and the deciding factor, so my decision was made and I joined the Air Force. It was determined by the powers above that my job in the Air Force was going to be law enforcement. So I was sent to basic training and law enforcement tech school at Lackland Air Force Base, Texas, for approximately 8 weeks. While in tech school, we received our first assignments. Mine was Dulles Air Force Base, Texas, which I was not excited about because remember, this country girl from North Dakota wanted travel and adventure, and I'd already been in Texas for 8 weeks. So in tech school, when the instructors asked if anyone would voluntarily switch with an airman who received orders to John Hay Air Station in the Philippines, guess who raised their hand? Yep, me. As you can guess, when I told my parents, my mom was not happy. I should have left out the part about me volunteering to switch. Because my duty station was in the Philippines, I was then sent to M60 Machine Gun School in Newark, New Jersey for 4 weeks after tech school. That school was taught by the Army and was very different and more intense than my basic training was. It taught me more about the weapons I would be carrying and other weapons that I may be exposed to. It taught me even more about discipline, teamwork, survival skills. It got me into better shape and much more. When it was over, I had a short visit back home to see family and friends, and then I was off to the Philippines. John Hay Air Station, Philippines was a very small, remote resort base in the mountains. It was made up of mostly 1 female, 16 male law enforcement personnel, 2 EMTs, 1 postmaster, 3 officers, 3 to 4 other positions. I can't remember now what they were, but all male. So I was one of 2 females stationed at that base. I was an airman who mainly did walking patrols up and down the mountains from somewhere between 3 p.m. to 7 a.m. Because of the remoteness, the size of the base, the environment, and the situations that occurred there, I learned some valuable lessons while I was there. Because it was such a small, remote, overseas base, the rules about some things weren't as strict as they were on other bases. One thing being military uniforms. My flight chief wanted to make sure I knew this and that I started my military career off right. So he gave me a briefing right when I got there. One thing he told me was, no one is going to check your uniform to make sure it's ironed. You can come to work in a crumpled uniform like this, like so-and-so if you want, and no one will say anything. But you have to look at yourself in the mirror and decide what type of military person you want to become. Do you want to look sharp, or do you want to look like someone who slept in their uniform? I did not have to think about it. I knew why I joined the military and what type of person I wanted to become. I went to work in an iron uniform with creases down the center of my sleeves and creases down my pants leg. Not only does that scenario come into play with uniforms, but in many aspects of life. It doesn't matter what anyone else does or says, even if we think no one else is looking or cares. We need to look at ourselves in the mirror and decide, what type of person do we want to be? Like I said, when I got to the Philippines, I was one of 2 females stationed at the base. The other female was married and worked the opposite shift of me. Luckily, the men I worked with were nice, and so were the wives of the few military members that were there and married. A couple of the wives brought me into their homes right away and treated me like family, but a lot of times it was just me and the guys. Luckily, I grew up where I did, out in the country, by Blanchard. If me and my sister weren't playing with our cousins, we could be found either playing football, softball, kickball, etc. with the boys who lived in Blanchard, or they would be at our house doing the same thing. Also, one of my favorite things to do in elementary school was, of course, recess, playing kickball and dodgeball, again with what seemed like mostly boys. In high school, I hung around with lots of people. It was the great thing about our class and some of the classes around us. We, boys and girls, were all friends who used to just hang around with each other. So when I arrived in the Philippines, I was used to being around guys a lot, and I was able to fit in just fine. Growing up here, I grew up seeing people work long hours, many days in a row, sometimes having to go to work at a drop of a hat, without complaint. I think the strong work ethic of the people around me helped prepare me for the several hours of work I did at my bases. Sometimes there wasn't much time off, or much notice that I would have to go to work, nor was there anyone to talk to for those long hours. We all know there are busy times around here, and there's work to do, so you just do it. And that is how it was for me in the military, especially John Hay. Other than typhoon season, the weather in John Hay was beautiful, and I enjoyed being outside. It's there that I learned how beautiful it is right before dawn, and that is also the most peaceful time of day. As I previously said, I like exercise, and when we were working those long hours without time off, there were reasons, so how could anyone complain? One of those reasons being after the earthquake hit John Hay and the city we live by. When the earthquake hit and the house I was in started shaking and things started flying around, I had instant memories of the tornado drills we had in high school and what we were taught to do in those drills. Year after year, we lined up in those high school hallways, and they briefed us on what to do. During the earthquake, that advice we learned in those drills popped into my head, and I used that advice to hide in the most secure area I could find in the house. So I implore all you students out there, when you have any drills, listen. There may come a point in your life where you may need that information. I hope there isn't, but if there is, at least you'll know what to do. After the Philippines, my next duty station was Tinker Air Force Base, where I was stationed for 6 years. I went from law enforcement, gate guard, patrolman, to dispatcher, desk sergeant, to security police investigator. When I was desk sergeant dispatcher, I learned to never give up. I wanted to try what was called for senior airman below the zone, which is basically getting your stripe/promotion early. So I asked my supervisor to help me write something up for it, and he told me no. I did not have enough information in file, so I would never get it. It wasn't worth it. Well, I thought there was. So I asked another supervisor from another flight if he would help me. He said yes. He would help me to get him my information, and he would write something up for me. And he did. I got senior airman below the zone, hence an early promotion. I got my next stripe staff sergeant on my second try. A couple years after that, I was selected above everybody else to be a security police investigator. Object of the story, never give up. If someone doesn't think you're worth it, who cares? There are other people out there who do. When I was a security police investigator, my supervisor said something to our office that always stuck. Always give someone a second chance, because you never know what is going on in their life. So at this point in my life, I've been in the Air Force for 8.5 years. I have had travel and adventure. I've been to Texas, New Jersey, Philippines, Oklahoma, vacation in Australia via the Philippines. I've had a successful military career. I have a criminal justice degree. It has given me everything I have asked of it, but now I'm at crossroads. I am married, have one child and one on the way, so I make a choice to get out of the military. While my military plans have detoured, being in the military still helped me with my life and my career. Even to this day, it opened doors to other opportunities. I used my GI Bill to go to school for paralegal. That, along with my criminal justice degree, led me to become a paralegal at a law firm, which led me to my current job and a career in the Social Security Hearings Office. My military time helped count toward my federal time, which meant seniority over people who started at the same time as me, getting more vacation time earlier and an earlier retirement date. I shared with you how it helped me after getting out of the military, but now I want to tell you how it helped my first roommate and friend Dorothy, who did not get out early. I first met Dorothy at Tinker Air Force Base, Oklahoma. She and I were suite mates in the dorm when I first got Tinker Air Force Base. As soon as we were allowed to move out of the dorm, we did. We moved into an apartment together. Dorothy's dad was a retired Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force. For those of you who don't know, that is the highest enlisted rank you can get. Dorothy was 27 when she joined the Air Force. She already had some college and some jobs behind her, but decided that wasn't for her. Dorothy told me she was going to retire as a Chief Master Sergeant, just like her dad. Dorothy and I lived together for a year or so, but then, as military people do, we got separated by relationships and assignments to other places. We stayed in touch for a while, then lost touch, and now have been in contact again. I found out that she reached her goal. She became and retired a Chief Master Sergeant. That means she was in the top 1% of the Air Force enlisted personnel. There's an article published about Dorothy on March 22nd, 2013. You can Google her. Quoting some of what she said in the article, "I earned these stripes by working hard, being good at what I do, caring for my airmen, and adhering to the core values of the United States Air Force." Dorothy also said, "Sometimes you have to do stuff you don't want to do, but you have to do it to get through it. It's how we learn." She also noted that one of her mentors made her deal with diversity and adversity. You can't just give up. Dorothy Chatfield Olson is an excellent example of what you can do if you put your mind to something. At 27 years old, she had a dream. She worked hard in the military to achieve that dream. The top 1% is huge. I know Dorothy. She's one of my good friends for a time. If she can fulfill her dream, you can too. In summary, joining the Air Force was one of the best choices I ever made. It made me who I am. It gave me the life I have. It allowed me to see different parts of the world and see the world in a different way. It made me appreciate things more, appreciate how and where I grew up in a way I don't think I could have done without serving. I miss it. I miss my friends, the camaraderie, seeing a person in a crisp iron uniform, being part of a unit, a flight. It's special. As you can see, the Air Force gave me more than just travel, adventure, a free education, and a military career. It gave me a feeling I can't even explain. Thank you, Air Force brochure, for making it into my mailbox. Whatever the reason men and women join the military, they are sacrificing their lives, their times with their family, for all of us to keep our freedom, and I'm so grateful for all past and present military for their sacrifices. It was an honor to serve with the people I served with. By you coming to this program, you are also honoring veterans. So thank you for coming, all for coming here today and honoring our veterans.
Thank you, Christy. Next on the program, we have the American Tears. We started doing that a number of years ago, and again, it's such a moving type video and so forth, so we just continue to show it. As Julie gets ready there, and you look, you see the smaller TV, and that's the what we call the Wall of Honor, and that we have that up in the Vets Club, and it's we want to have on that wall every veteran that's had anything to do with Hillsboro. So if you've got some family, some friends, relatives, we got a little bit of paperwork that you would need to do, and then we would want a picture on there. So again, we want a whole bunch of stuff on there. I know Colette Cotton has put in a lot of time on that Wall of Honor, so we thank you, Colette, for taking that and running with it. Are we ready, Julie? Please stand up. Thank you. Please be seated. I got about 5 more minutes. First of all, I want to have a few thank yous here. First of all, Mrs. Zerfus, she's been the main player in this for a long time. And she makes my job pretty easy. So please give her a round of applause. I would also like to thank Mrs. Smallback for having the high school choir out here. And I'd also like to thank Mr. Dryberg, Mr. Baylor, Mr. Ruki, Steve Honorud, and all the teachers and support staff, as without their cooperation and assistance, this program would be very difficult to put on. Special thank you to all the students that participated in the program. Those of you who were singing with the American Tears, you did a dandy job. And of course, Elisa Jenin with her reading, our main speaker, Christy Sumner, our guys, Bob Hebel and Herman De Leon, for helping out with the flag folding, and of course the high school choir for their nice song. Thank all of you for making this a special day. Finally, I do want to bring up a few things. I get to make the closing remarks. The first thing I would like to mention with that, if you like the idea of doing the joint program with the students and the community, let me know. Or let somebody know. Even if you don't think it's a good deal, let me know that as well. Those of you that have been coming to all these programs will have heard a lot of things that I'm going to tell you. But I will tell it one more time. If I didn't believe it myself, I certainly wouldn't be telling you. I don't know how many of you will be going into the military after you graduate. Probably very few. Do you know that less than 1% of our country's current population have served in the military? Any of you seniors thinking about going into the military? I could find you some recruiters pretty fast if you were wanting to do that. Trust me and believe me when I do tell you that you will find nothing more honorable than to serve for and to protect your country. There's a lot of honorable professions out there, many, many. Again, you will find none more honorable than serving for and protecting your country. We've had a few students from Hillsboro that have attended these programs that did join the military. Christy would be one. Many of those served in Iraq and Afghanistan, they now understand the pride of being an American that served for and protected our country. We now call them veterans. They know and understand that the threat of a terrorist attack and war are very real. We cannot and will not let our guard get down. The need to have a strong defense has to remain a top priority for our country. Even if you choose not to go into the military, we veterans hope that you go on with your lives. You will always remain loyal and patriotic to your country. We also ask that you show respect to your parents, brothers, sisters, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends, teachers, the elderly, veterans, and other members of the community where you chose to live. Imagine just for a moment that you could not choose where you wanted to live, or what school you go to, what classes you take, what activities you participate in. Life certainly would be different. Be proud of your community. Be proud of your school. Strive to make it better. Be proud of your classmates and friends. Strive to make them better. Always try to do your best, even though your best may not always be good enough. When we fall or when we fail, please note that I said we, as it happens to me every day. You just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try again. Don't be afraid to volunteer. If you see someone that needs help, then help them. If you can't help them, then find someone who can help them. We all should have a goal of helping at least one person every day. There's about 600 of us in here right now. So if all of you tomorrow help one person, and then that same person help people, imagine the number of people that everybody be helping each other. My last request to you is sometime over the next few days or weeks or months, years, thank a veteran for their service. I can assure you that to a veteran, that is most humbling, but I can assure you that it's also very much appreciated. So with that, would you please stand, and we're all going to sing God Bless America. The last thing that I have is on Monday, November 11th, which is the actual Veterans Day, we are having a rifle volley at 11 a.m. at the Trail Colony Veterans Memorial. And after we're done with the rifle volley, where there's going to be a lunch in the Vets Clubs, and that should start at about 11:30. So again, thank you for being here today.
And that will conclude the 2024 24th Annual Student and Community Participation Veterans Day program here at the Hillsboro Event Center on your live event. Happy pre-Veterans Day. And again, you can catch the ADA program coming up on Monday. And later on tonight, we have the one-act play performance of Queens from the Hillsboro High School gym. So that'll be starting at just before 7 o'clock. We'll start our coverage, and the play will start at 7 on Your Live Event. Check out our full schedule, yourliveevent.com. From all of us here at yourliveevent.com, happy early Veterans Day. Thank you to all of our veterans who have served this country so bravely. From all of us here at Your Live Event, it's James Martins. Have a great rest of your Friday.